Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from, listening from. And welcome to the Creative Real Estate Agent Podcast. And we are back with yet another episode talking about creativity in the real estate industry. Creativity as far as entrepreneurs, business owners. What do you do when it's time to kind of let go of the traditional tactics, the traditional methods of not only generating business, but really separating yourself in your industry, in your market. And today I have for you guys an extraordinary, extra creative agent all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, by the name of Mr. Robert Biehn. Robert Biehn, this man, he's been all over the place, different industries, different business, different types of businesses, and now in the real estate realm, he's making some big moves. He's making some great things happen using his creativity, separate, doing things differently. And today we're gonna basically talk with Robert and learn some things from him that he's doing, things that he's is doing with his team in Nashville and all over the country, and how he's doing that to really separate, grow, and scale his business. So without any further ado, I want to welcome you guys. I want to introduce you guys to Robert Biehn. Robert.
Hey, Joe. Good to be here, man.
All right, all right. So Robert, hold on. I can't just introduce you like this. I'm gonna do it again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Robert Biehn. There we go. There we go. What was the audience at? I don't know what happened to the audience. Okay, they heard me now. They heard me now. So Robert, what's going on?
Man, so happy to be here. I got two introductions. I mean, I feel like I'm off to a great start already.
Hey, that's that you that special. You that special. So tell me, Robert, what is going on with you? How is Nashville treating you? What's it like right now over there? What's the weather like? The famous question. What's the weather like in Nashville?
It's actually been raining a lot lately,
Okay.
but it hasn't gotten cold, so it's a little bit muggy, quite honestly. A little bit
Okay.
muggy, but things are looking really green
Mm,
because you're getting that sunshine, but you're also getting the water coming down. So it's actually looking really beautiful outside.
nice. The muggy part sounds a little bit familiar because it's been pretty muggy here down here in Orlando, Florida. I mean, it's kind of hurting business a little bit. You can't even do showings because it starts raining from 3 in the afternoon all the way till about 9 p.m. So
Wow, that's crazy.
it's a mess. It's a mess. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Robert. Kind of where you from, how you got into real estate, and kind of what that process was like from start to where you are now.
Sure, man. We'll keep it short and sweet because we both know I could talk forever. Um, so I'm originally from Southern California.
Okay.
I lived in a really small town called California City. It's a real place. I kid
Oh
you
wow.
not. Um, and then I lived in LA, Orange County, Long Beach, Garden Grove, all over for a while. I actually lived in Canada for a few years. Was actually a Canadian permanent resident as well.
Oh wow.
Um, and then Tennessee is really where myself and then eventually my wife and now our family really found it to be home. As far as kind of my background, I've always been a showman.
Okay.
I've always just enjoyed doing something different. Like if all the kids are playing on the playground, then I was the kid who would go find something and I would set up a stick and I'd be like, I'm going to break this. Gah! Like, because I didn't want to go play on the same slide that everybody else did. I said,
Yeah.
no, I want my show.
Yeah.
And so I've always been like, if I want to go do something, I go do it. I packed parachutes at 12 years old.
Wow.
Um, I was a carpenter at 13, a lifeguard and swim coach at 16, I think. I was a EMT at 17 and a half. I was an armed guard for a while.
Wow.
Um, I mean, and that's like a quarter. But then when it really started to refine itself into entrepreneurship, because everything else was just this pursuit of like fulfillment for my creativity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was satisfied with all these different jobs I had because I was looking for something more, something that allowed me to express myself
Yeah.
even more. And I didn't really understand that it was entrepreneurship until I started to get really into business.
Mm-hmm.
When I started to get into business, things changed. I failed a whole bunch as an independent contractor for a while, through consulting and things, like just not meeting the results I wanted.
Yeah.
Until I started to refine my craft. I took lessons from people like Chris Voss, and Black Swan. Never Split the Difference. He's really big now.
Mm-hmm.
I used to follow him before he had done his master class and stuff. Amazing negotiator and teacher. And then um, I started actually getting better at business. I started negotiating better. I started implementing the unique creative aspects, the things that made me good at what I do. I started to just learn how to use those efficiently and effectively
Right.
to build things. And then next thing you know, I'm working at a high rise in downtown LA, right across from LAX, and I'm negotiating contracts with Netflix.
Oh wow.
I kid you not. And it was amazing. And I loved the job. And I was like interviewing people from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I got to do some really cool things. I'm a big nerd, so I'm a gamer. So I also got to work with big gaming companies like Blizzard. And then um, there was this moment where I saw something happen within the company where I saw racial discrimination,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a Christian first. And so I said, no matter how much I love this job, I have to do something.
Yeah.
So I brought it to HR, and HR said, none of that exists. I had proof and everything. They said,
Wow.
doesn't exist. You're the problem. And they fired me.
Wow.
And I said, God, what the heck? I loved that job. I got paid good.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And then I realized, like we always do in hindsight, right? I realized he had a bigger plan. I was still trying to do the company's work, not
Yeah.
his work.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I'm one of the few people that I've ever met that was a professional contract negotiator for billion-dollar companies. And I felt like God was like, go use those skills to impact people directly.
Yeah.
Well, guess what was the next choice? The biggest financial purchase someone would probably ever make in
Make
their
in their
life:
lives. That's right. That's
real
right.
estate.
Wow.
And I said, man, that's a place that I can use those really unique creative skills in and serve others.
Yeah. Wow. Man, that's quite a journey. That's quite a journey. I mean, so California, Canada, now back to the US in Nashville, Tennessee. Man, so how has all of that experience, that journey, and now coming into real estate, what has that done in your real estate career? All right. First of all, tell me exactly when you started, and also what did you think coming into to the real estate industry?
Sure. So I have two start points in real estate. I have my consulting start point, and that came when I started consulting for billion-dollar companies, million-dollar companies, but also just I mean, I even consulted for small cities, like their chamber of commerces and
Nice.
stuff like that. Um, and so naturally, you start talking to builders
Right.
because builders are in every city. They're massive. They're just a
Right.
huge part of our economy. And so I started consulting for builders, just about the business problems. I would never touch the houses or the building process. That's not my area of expertise. So I didn't even
Mhm.
try. But when it came to the logistics of their business, which most builders don't want to mess with, um, that's where I got to consult. And so I did that for 8, 10 years. Um, and I still do that, actually. I still do that pretty frequently. Met with a
Mhm.
builder yesterday, even. But actually, eventually, some point, I was like, I'm hindering my abilities to serve people if I don't have my license.
Yeah.
About 2.5 years ago, I went and got my license and said, okay, let's make this official, right?
Right.
Put the wedding band on. Let's make this official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So then you got your license, you got into real estate, and of course, I mean, you were already you were already part of the industry. Now, what did you start doing initially, and then when did you have the sort of this epiphany to now just to start doing things differently? Or
Oh
did you
man.
already
It,
see that need in the industry before you even came in, and right away you said, okay, I already know what I'm gonna do, and it's gonna be different than what I've seen. When did that happen, and what was it exactly?
yeah, for better or for worse, and I'm happy to admit this. For better or for worse, I'm stubborn as heck. I think that, and this may be pride, and I'll admit it. But 9 times out of 10, I feel like I can usually figure out a better way than the traditional way. And I'm not saying I'm right. I have burned bridges. I have made mistakes. I have lost money. And yet, quite honestly, that desire hasn't changed. It's more of
Yeah,
just my approach is I'll master the traditional and then I'll go versus I
got
won't
it,
try traditional at
got
all.
it.
I'll master it, take the best parts, and then expand on it.
Yeah,
So when I jumped right into real estate, I had no savings. I was in a new city, no sphere of influence, no family, no friends. I had nothing to fall back on. My wife was a stay-at-home mom. I was all in, and so I tried the cold calling right away. I tried the traditional methods. Right, I was at a very large brokerage. They have their process. They say follow these steps. This is what you do. This is how you become a real estate agent and become successful. Um, and so I started to look at that and I realized, okay, but if other people are doing this and 80% of them are failing, then is this really the best method? Because
right.
if it was that simple, if it's that cut and dry, wouldn't the statistics be higher? Wouldn't the odds be more in the favor?
Hmm.
And so I tried it for about 2 weeks. I kid you not. And then I said, heck no, I'm not, I'm not doing it this way. So I said, but I do know I need to lead gen. I do know I need to generate business. And since I have no sphere of influence, I literally had none.
Hmm.
I had to figure out a different way. And
Right.
so it pushed me to start using social media, Facebook groups, and things like that to get creative and to figure out how to generate business through those mediums.
Okay. Right. Now, I like how you said, you had to get creative. Now, something that I find that a lot of agents don't understand is even just the word creative, right? Root word is to create, right? Creation. So it doesn't necessarily mean, whenever we say the word creative, we always think artistically creative, like someone
Yeah.
who can dance, someone who probably could sing, somebody who can maybe draw or design things, or those type of creativity. I mean, and it's a lot of agents, doing all those different things to grow their businesses. 2 weeks ago, I had a realtor on the show. He calls himself the dancing realtor, and he does a bunch of TikTok videos where he's dancing at open houses and things like that, and it works, and that's what he does because he can actually dance.
I love it, man.
He's a great dancer.
Send me
Now,
that guy. I gotta follow
I
him.
definitely will. I definitely will. So at the same time, creative simply means, finding a way, finding another
Hmm.
way, right?
Well said.
So tell me, well, first of all, let me ask you this: or do you have a, I guess, an artistic type of I guess, creativity or creative skill? Because I think I'm aware of one. It's songwriting, right?
Yeah, I've written a couple hundred songs. Yeah.
A couple hundred songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
The most songs I've ever written and recorded in a single month was 28.
wow, 28 songs. Okay,
Yeah.
we see we got to talk about that later. So, well, let me. So, have you used that skill in your business in any way?
So let's dive into this because I think this is a really cool way, because I think that, like you said, people relate artistic, the word art and art
Creative.
creative
Hmm.
together, and they think that that's separate from business, or
Right.
that those skills cannot translate into business.
Right.
But I'd
Exactly.
argue, and I can only use myself really as a living example, but I am an example. I was artistic first and I
Hmm.
tried to get into business. And I actually think that while it made my start a little bit rougher because my mindset was more not focused, my mindset wasn't focused.
Yeah.
But when I focused up, I had more tools to use in business.
Nice.
Because when you learn how to master songwriting, what you're really learning is how to write and express a message in a different way to a
Hmm.
different audience.
Copywriting.
Copywriting.
Nice.
Exactly.
Nice.
That's all it is. That's all that that is. And
Hmm.
so when you open yourself up and you train that side of your brain, it is useful, because then the word copywriting, when you get into it for business, you're like, oh, for some reason, this clicks a little bit because it's somewhat familiar because you've
Yeah.
already been doing it. So
Yeah.
I've written 5 books. I've written a couple TV shows and a lot of songs. I'm
Nice.
not good at drawing, so that's not an artistic creative ability I have. I've designed logos and websites. To be honest, my wife is way better at those than I am.
Hmm.
Um, and I definitely think that each and every one of those things has played a critical role in how I communicate and how I express and
Hmm.
how I do business.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what are you doing right now that is different than what the majority of the industry is doing?
There's a couple, so I'll try to bullet point for them, and then if you think any of them sound extra interesting, you let me know.
All right.
One of them is I leverage other people's expert qualities and characteristics.
Okay.
Too many, and I'm speaking forwardly, I think too many real estate agents are so focused on their abilities, their power, their goals, their dreams, their production, that they're missing an opportunity to collaborate together
Hmm.
to accomplish 10 times what they could ever do by themselves.
Hmm.
And I'm not even talking about just traditional team structures. No, I'm saying it's bigger than that. I'm talking about partnerships.
Yeah.
Partnerships are life changing. So I leverage people. I leverage people like you. I leverage people like Brad Vanderwall, which we both know
Right.
Brad very well, former #1 Remax team in the world. I leverage him.
Hmm.
I leverage him for success, for knowledge, for training. He leverages me for my unique skills and
Hmm.
capabilities. And we then accomplish so much more because we didn't let pride get in the way, ego
Right.
get in the way. We said, listen, you've got something special. I got something special. Let's barter. Let's
Yeah.
trade. Let's share. And I really don't think enough agents do that. Um, and I think that's why there's an average. They take a corporate approach to an independent focused business.
That's good. That's a good
I
point.
know, right? I got to write that down.
That's a good
So
point.
that's one of them.
Hmm.
VAs. So I definitely leverage virtual assistants. I actually have a virtual
Okay.
assistant company now because I leverage them so much. I have
Nice.
5 assistants, um, and I'm probably going to bring on a 6th. I can get so much more done in the same amount of hours at a fraction of the cost. Um, and that's been life changing. I
Yeah.
mean, absolutely
Yes.
life changing to leverage those at a high level. And I do emphasize the high level. I think it's really important that whoever's coming to assist you, they're sharing the vision and the goal,
Right.
and they understand what you're trying to accomplish.
Awesome.
So, I mean,
Awesome.
that's definitely one. And then I think just not looking at things one dimensionally.
Hmm.
When I see a client or an opportunity or a lead, I don't look at them and say, okay, I'm just gonna cold call them, and that's the only way I'm able to reach them. I try to think of like, what would they want to hear from me? What's a natural, organic way they could see me,
Yeah.
interact with me? And then when I have those interactions, how can I improve them? How can I make them more meaningful, more purposeful? So
Right.
then I'm encouraged and I'm inspired to do more because I'm thinking about them more.
Yeah. Nice.
So those are some of the ways. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And I want to go back to the point you made about, you know, agents having, I guess, that treating their, I guess, their business in that sort of that corporate mindset instead of a being an independent contractor, an independent business owner. Because I
Hmm.
think that's sometimes that's the sort of that roadblock that can get in the way of an agent's business um, growing and scaling and exploding
Hmm.
because they don't necessarily think themselves as business owners. And when you
Right.
think yourself as a business owner or you having a business, you know there's a couple of things about businesses. There is expenses and revenue. But if you're thinking about it as a job, when when you have a job, you just worrying about your income or
That's right.
your revenue. But you never at a job you don't really have expenses. And in
Hmm.
order for a business to grow, the business has to invest in itself to grow. And
Yeah.
that's where your expenses come. And now that investment, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary investment.
That's
It's
right.
investment of your time, of your energy,
Hmm.
you just thinking outside of the box, investment into other people, like you said, within partnerships, right? Investing in someone else's business, just to help them, and establishing those relationships that will possibly help your business in return. So
Hmm.
that I think that's a very very good point about agents just thinking differently, think as a business, but also think differently than what every brokerage out there is preaching and teaching. That really just doesn't work as well anymore. It's just not as effective.
And I
Now,
don't think it's an insult to the brokerages either. I
right?
think what happens is that, if I may, I think one of the biggest problems we face as agents is that we're expecting our brokers to be way more than what a broker should be. We're
Right.
expecting our brokerages to do way more than what a brokerage should do. I
Right.
truly believe that a brokerage is supposed to be a support system, but
Mm.
I do not think, here's the comparison I make when I talk, I talk to tons of agents. One of the
Hmm.
comparisons I make is I said, listen, a broker's first job is supposed to be compliance.
Mm.
And we often overlook that. We think it's not a big deal. But here's the reality, that's the one thing that a broker can do for you that you can't do for yourself at their level. You can do or find someone to do everything else
That's awesome. That's a
and
that's
do it at
great.
a higher level. Who do you think can train you better? Brad Vanderwall, who is a $200 million producer, or a broker who has 100 agents whose main job is supposed to be compliance?
Right.
Now, if a broker's turning around and he's going, "Hey, I'm teaching new agents. I'm doing business development, and then I'm doing lead gen strategies and admin work, and 90% of their job is filled with things other than compliance." It actually leaves the brokerage and the agents under them vulnerable
Yeah.
because the
Absolutely.
broker is their protector. That's where they're supposed to be. At
Absolutely.
least that's my opinion.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with that, and I can tell you. So I actually got my broker's license in the state of Florida, and most of that education and most of that really the course for that license is compliance. It's contracts and it's laws, and it's
Mhm.
nothing really about business growth or sales or lead generation. It's none of that, right? So you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. So uh, we coming towards the end of the show here, and I want to ask you, Robert. I mean, what? So you kind of just shared a couple of things that you're doing. Now, what would you suggest to agents that just are looking, or maybe are want to start thinking about doing things differently? Kind of what? Give me a couple of steps that you would recommend for them to go through in order to figure out first what exactly is sort of their thing, right? Their maybe their niche, or maybe just that that special thing that they may have that they can really integrate into their business to again just separate themselves from the rest of the crowd.
Absolutely. I got a couple good ones that I've been thinking about because I just, like I said, I talk to a ton of agents. And so I like to leave them with as much value as I can, regardless of whether we partner together or not. Um, I think it goes back to what I said earlier, leveraging. We're both a part of Double Your Income Coaching right
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes,
One of
sir.
the best assets that we have in that is that if you want to get into YouTube, go learn from someone who has mastered YouTube. If
Yeah.
you want to get into for sale by owners, landlords, listings from retirement communities, the point is that you have an avenue that doesn't cost you a fortune. You don't have to go sign up for a $3,000 a month, one coach, 2 30-minute calls a month. And I'm not insulting that. I'm saying if you're
Right.
trying to figure it out, you're going to go broke before you figure anything out.
Hmm.
But if you go and test the waters in an organic, natural setting, that's amazing. When agents come on my team and I go, hey, tell me about yourself, examine yourself, be honest with yourself. How much time can you put in? And I always tell them, be conservative. Don't sell me on you. Sell yourself on the truth,
Yeah.
okay, of what you're going to accomplish. And one of them goes, listen, I'm super busy. One of them, she's awesome. She's a mom. She has her full-time job. She's trying to get into real estate. Guess what? Cold calling isn't going to cut it. That's not going to work. It's not. But she's doing YouTube. And so she goes to the YouTube and she can create videos that attract leads to her. She figured out something, and I helped her through it because she's on the team, so of course she's
Yeah.
getting that guidance. But
Absolutely.
basically, go and figure out what you're good at, and then learn that process, master that process, create
Yeah.
an income from that process, and then keep learning and keep refining. Right? Don't just go join a brokerage and then go hope that the broker's going to tell you how to be successful. That's not their job. And if it was that easy, then every agent at that brokerage would be a millionaire.
Absolutely.
Right? I hope that was clear. I feel like that was a little
No,
long-winded.
no, that was perfect. That was perfect. And I think it kind of goes back to everything you've shared already, as far as just taking ownership, taking responsibility
Yeah.
to operate your business as an independent contractor and an independent business owner. Because it's in your hands. It's in your hands. It's in your hands to get the things you want to come into your hands. But thank you so much, Robert. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing all that you shared, really about yourself personally and your business. Really the things that you've learned coming into the business from different industries, bringing all of that experience, all of that expertise, and just doing things differently, because it's needed. It's needed in our industry. Creativity. We all have it. We are all creative in our own ways. Again, some of us artistically creative. Some of us just I would say just operationally creative. Some of us
Hmm.
it could be just a personality that you have that is just contagious and attractive to people, and they see you, they just want to work with you, they want to do business with you for no reason but your personality, right? So you have to find out what that it factor, what is it for you, and then integrate it as much as you can, in your business. If you're a fitness person, man, do some push-ups in
Oh,
your
yeah.
in your videos. I don't know, maybe you do a walkthrough of the house, just on the handstand.
Yeah. There's so much, and with the
So
power.
much you can do.
Yeah.
Right? If you
Yeah.
know how to cook, man, do a cooking show and invite people to come see the home at the same time. Get a cooking master class. I don't know, just take your time and
Yeah.
really do that self assessment to figure out what is it that I have, okay, and how can I use that optimally in my business to again to separate yourself and grow your business. That's what I want to leave with you guys today. Robert, again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll be back next week, and I actually have one big announcement here, and basically this is what's going to happen. So today was actually the last, really the last episode of the Creative Real Estate Agent podcast. Now, why? Why did I do that? Well, I've been getting messages and calls and texts about, well, Joe, why can't you bring me on your show? You know, I'm like, well, you're not a real estate agent. That's why. But but I'm a business person. I'm an entrepreneur, and you know what? So we've decided to basically change the name of the show, but not the focus or the mission of the show is to really highlight creative business owners, creative entrepreneurs. Yes, it was for real estate agents, but I really in even talking to going adding on to what we've already talked about today as far as agents, real estate agents, we're entrepreneurs first. The real estate agent is just or real estate, it just happens to be the industry that we're doing business in. But at the end of the day, we're all entrepreneurs. So the name of the show starting next week will be called the Creative Entrepreneurs Podcast. So every entrepreneur out there, if you have a creative skill, if you're using creativity in your business, or if your creativity is your business, even better, we would love to have you on and really highlight and showcase your talents, your creativity, your business, and also what you can share with the rest of the community for them to really tap it into their creativity and grow their businesses. So with that being said, next week, 11 a.m. right here live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, the Creative Entrepreneurs Podcast with Joe Derilus. Y'all have a good day. See you next week.